Standard Essential Patents, or SEP, is not a new term. Companies like Ericsson, Qualcomm, Nokia have been licensing SEPs aggressively for over a decade now. The handset manufacturers know this landscape very well, and they have licensing teams, friend negotiation protocols, etc., already in place. Now, the automotive industry has none of that infrastructure in place, and it is arriving at this problem at a moment when Indian courts have already set up an enforcement framework. For example, a component such as a telematics control unit is typically a tier 1 or tier 2 component. The Delhi High Court, in the case of Ericsson versus Slava, confirmed that the royalty rates are to be determined based on the finished product, not the component itself, which means that OEM carries the liability for every SEP embedded in every component that went into the vehicle, irrespective of what the supplier contracts say. Now, the second thing I want to flag is about negotiations during SEP licensing. Whenever a question of obtaining a license arrives, the instinct of most engineering-led companies is to treat it more as a legal problem, and they often tend to hand it over to their in-house counsels. And in-house counsels often move very cautiously, reasonably, and albeit slowly. Now, the Ericsson versus Lava judgment makes it clear that slow and careful may look like unwillingness to obtain license, and the court awarded damages specifically based on Lava's conduct during negotiations. So the prominence in concluding licensing negotiations may be a good strategy to limit the overall damages in case any dispute arises. The third thing is related to electric vehicles. The transition from CHAdeMO to CCS2 charging standards is a technical shift that has a set of legal consequences of itself. The engineers know what standards they are implementing. The lawyers know what SEPs are at stake, but I believe a more thorough conversation is required between the two groups about what licensing obligations may follow from the design decisions and vice versa. Right now, the SEP conversation is limited to cellular connectivity, but I think it is not going to stop there. For example, the shape and features of a charging connector are standardized, and the technologies related to charging stations for electric vehicle, collision avoidance systems, emergency response systems may be subject to standardization, and the number of patents around these technologies is only going to grow. Now, there is a question that Indian courts are yet to confront. What if an SEP is related to a safety critical aspect of a vehicle? Now, this question is important because now the courts will have to weigh in, at one hand, public interest, and on the other hand, the rights of the patentees. And I think a matter like this may come up sooner than later. Therefore, I think in view of all this backdrop, I think it is time for the OEMs to have their legal teams and engineering team sit together and make decisions together.